when you do deep healing work, it doesn't just fix whatever you come for. Slowly, you start to heal your cells where all your experiences are. Then you start to really release all the layers of it.
When mothers are like, this is boring, I'm unfulfilled, I don't have an identity, I'm like, you are missing the point. There is nothing more creative, nothing more fulfilling. These babies, these human, that is what life is all about, is the connection. Welcome to Down the Well, episode 11, Preparing to Become the Matriarch. Did you know that motherhood doesn't have to equate to martyrdom? I'm Elle Rowley, mother of four, founder of Solly Baby, and host of Down the Well. My goal is to reframe the narratives that shape motherhood so women feel empowered in their transformation from maiden to mother to matriarch. Today, we're diving into a conversation with someone whose presence feels like sunshine, Bev Aron. Bev is a master certified life coach and teacher, best known for her ability to help people move beyond simply thinking differently to actually feeling differently. But what I love most about Bev isn't just her mastery, it is her aliveness. This episode is about that light, the kind that doesn't come from ignoring pain, but from understanding it. We're talking about the matriarch phase, that season where a woman's power becomes quieter, but more potent, where joy and wisdom coexist. So wherever you are, walking, folding laundry, or just catching a breath, whether you are watching this or just listening to it, settle in. I think you're going to feel Bev's light before you even understand it. So welcome, Bev.
Thank you, Elle. What a beautiful introduction. So lovely. Thank you. I feel all mushy.
So happy to have you here. I have wanted to interview you for quite a long time. Before the podcast, I've wanted to interview you, actually. You've been such a mentor to me, and not only in coaching, but in the way that you live. You carry this joy and ease that so many women are craving and chasing after, especially in the middle chapters of life. So let's start there. How did this work find you? How did you become the woman and coach that you are today?
Okay, love it. So it actually found me through motherhood. I remember being pregnant and having this burst of intuition. We were living in London at the time. My husband and I were both doing our masters, and I was walking down the high street and I saw this organic store, food store. And I just got this understanding, I need to feed my child that kind of food. And then while I was pregnant, I looked at my husband and I said, so if ever there's a problem with the school and our child, it's going to be the school. And so I just felt all these kind of knowings, and they were so certain that I just followed them. And then when my youngest was a toddler, my friend Robin Easer said, there's the South African naturopath, homeopath, Dr. Cooks, and he wants to teach us Tuesday night at my house. And I was like, okay. And he was the first person who taught us things like, your thoughts are not created by the facts. I remember when he said that, just our minds being blown. And he would give us homework, things like, this week, no matter what happens, your response is, it doesn't matter. And then that kind of blew our mind, because we were like, okay, yes. Then fast forward probably about 10 years from that, I had struggled with weight all my life, dieting and cleansing and all these things. And at the time, those were the only options. And I remember I was about to go to San Diego to my nephew's bar mitzvah. And I remembered there'd be a lot of people there I haven't seen since school. So of course, right, a month-long cleanse. And I was sitting on the plane thinking, I'm so tired of this. And I opened up my O magazine, which was my source of all wisdom at the time, to Martha Beck, and she was talking about relaxing to lose weight. And it was another one of those moments, what? And in it, she said, Brooke Castillo, the best weight loss coach I know, said, blah, blah, blah. So the minute I land, I look up Brooke Castillo, and she was doing on the phone, that's how long ago it was, a weight loss course through Martha. It's very good marketing by Martha. And I signed up, and listening to Brooke, I could not actually believe that it was possible to approach the world in the way that she did, with this whole idea that, it's always the thinking behind what we're doing, which is creating what we're creating. And so that's basically how it found me. I became a groupie. She created the life coach school. I think I was the first person to sign up for every course she does. And I could not believe that this could be a profession. This could be a way that you earn your income and live your life. It was just like a mind-blowing thing for me that now is, very much more well-known and very much more understood and, pretty much what I've been able to do. Thank God. Very fortunate.
Well, and that is how that's how I crossed paths with you, is through the life coach school when I was doing my training there just 6 or 7 years ago, something like that. I was in a group that you came in to evaluate our coaching. And I was like, this lady, there is just something special about her. You really have, even though our training is similar, you just have your own approach, your own style that I think is just very, very much beyond training. It is a gift that you have. So, okay, when you often say that awareness is the portal to transformation. That it's not about just like fixing your thoughts, but expanding awareness. Can you explain what that means in your own words?
Yes. So whenever we're struggling with something, we are in an emotional or nervous system state that is challenging for us. It's very hard to think clearly when we're in that. So the solution is hard to find. We're very tunnel visioned. Awareness, if you think of awareness as a feeling, there's lots of ways to think of awareness, but if you think of awareness as an emotion, that kind of like, and we open and we soften and we calm, then all the options become available to us. So it's not like just like awareness, like, oh, I read this book that explained that the reason I'm blah, blah, blah. It's our own moving from anger or sadness or suffering to this sort of like mini us watching ourselves, like a mini observer going, oh, the reason you're feeling sad now is because, this is what's going on in your mind or whatever. And then, so we move from sadness to awareness. And now all the options are available to us of what to do with it, where to go with it, how to be with ourselves in it.
That is such a good way of explaining it. Yeah, kind of being the observer of our brains. And then, but what does that look like in day-to-day life? Like maybe for a mom, what does that look like? Say a mom that's really overwhelmed and struggling.
Okay. Yes. Beautiful. So for a mom who's overwhelmed and struggling and maybe hasn't done so much work, it's not necessary. The thing is to notice, how does it feel when I'm overwhelmed, right? We feel so sort of tight, or we might want to cry, we might want to run away. To notice that feeling and then practice just imagining this little mini you observing and going, you're feeling overwhelmed right now. That makes sense. Everyone's yelling, they want dinner, you haven't cooked yet, you don't know where to turn first. Makes sense that you're feeling overwhelmed. It's a difficult hour. And then everyone's still screaming and yelling, but now you're like, oh, I'm aware. And then it just changes the whole experience. And so to do that throughout the day, practice it more and more. Just have like a little script. Basically, this is how I'm feeling. It makes sense that. And then it becomes more and more how we talk to ourselves.
I mean, what you're saying there, it's kind of like mothers are perfectly positioned to do this work because we are nurturers. And essentially what you're saying is nurturing those hard emotions, those hard moments and feelings, right?
Totally. And for those fortunate ones of us who had that kind of nurturing, those words will come easily. If we didn't experience it, then it's something we need to practice, and then it will start to come easy to our children. We'll be the mothers we want to be for our kids.
Oh, it's like generational healing is what you're talking about, huh? Wow, that is amazing.
Exactly.
Okay, but coming back to you in this lightness that you have you always been this way, or did it come through the work?
So much work. So here's the thing, Elle. This is my belief, which I think makes it so easy to coach anybody. We are all born this way. I understand we inherit things and, all the things, but our pureness, we're all light and joy. So I don't think I was like that because my family talk about me. I do remember this. I was very shut down for much of my teenage years and young adult years. And I was, I think, quite sort of mean and scary, but also very social. I had a lot of friends. So I don't think I had it. I think that I, whatever my experiences were, sort of covered it up. And I wouldn't have been described as this way, from people in high school or university. But I obviously naturally was this way. And then through work, when you do deep healing work, it doesn't just fix whatever you come for. It slowly, you start to heal your cells where all your experiences are stored, and you start to really release all the layers of it. And so I never kind of went and said, I want to discover my joy. I went about like specific problems, right? But as we just kept uncovering and uncovering and finding new ways to think and releasing, this seems to be how I landed. So I would say through lots of work.
Wow. What a happy surprise to find that on the other end for so many of us. I love that. Okay, you teach emotional processing as a way to create freedom. For
Mhm.
people who have done a lot of this mindset work but still feel stuck, what
Yes.
do you think they might be missing?
Yeah. So I think what they're probably missing is the connection to our body and our right brain. So mindset work, we use our brilliant left brain in our language processing, which is, the most advanced system, right? Thinking system on the planet. And it's also very limited. Can only handle a small amount of information at a time. And also it's very kind of like knowledgeable and bossy about how things work. So we're always trying to go against that. And some of the things that it thinks of, it knows are very, very old. They could have been from like birth, say. So we're like, oh, here's a new thought. Let's bring it in. And sometimes it works, and sometimes it's a lot of work. As you say, you still feel stuck, even though you have all your beautiful thoughts. So the main thing to tell any listeners in this situation, there is nothing wrong with you. You're not doing it wrong. It just means you're ignoring the source of the painful mindset. And so there's a book called Spiritual Bypassing that talks about this. That first kind of put me onto it. I can't remember the author, but if the mindset is keeping you stuck, it just means there's memories, there's feelings, there's beliefs that you can't access because they're literally a part of you. You just think it's the way the world works. It's facts. So the way to do it is to find somebody to help you connect with your body. We do it via emotional processing. In my coaching and processing of memories, there's so many ways. Anything that has the word sort of somatic, body oriented, anything that basically has you bypassing as much as you can, your brilliant language brain will help move you past that stuckness and take you from having to like constantly be trying to remind yourself and practice your new thoughts and, keep going for new ones to a release where, we talked about how we're all sort of purely light and joy. Your awareness and thinking will start to come from that.
Wow. Okay, I don't even
Yeah.
know if we will use this, but I just have to ask you a question about
Totally.
how do you see that connected to, or do you see that connection between that and ADHD? Because ADHD, I have ADHD, and it feels
Me too.
like that things get stuck in that part of the brain. But when I can just like get it in my body,
Yes.
when I embody an idea or a goal or something that I like, there's something I'm trying to create in my life, then it's like I don't have to I can like settle that ADHD brain. Does that make sense?
Wow. That makes so much sense. So it's possible that ADHD, I mean, I've never studied it. I have it too, but I haven't felt the need to study it neurologically, but it's possible, right, that it might live sort of in our left hemisphere. And then rather than trying to strategize and try to sort of fix it, we just go to the part of us that's calm and that can handle so many concepts at the same time and that knows all. Oh my gosh, I love that, Elle.
There's something to that. Oh my gosh, Bev. Okay. Okay. Well, one of my favorite things that you said is there's no thought police, which I just think is a very liberating idea. How has embracing that truth changed the way that you live?
Oh my gosh, so much boldness, so much courage. So that idea, I can't remember if she exactly said it that way, but from my mentor, Brooke Castillo, she would offer in the early days outrageous ways of thinking about things. And I remember going, oh, you were allowed to think that? And then realizing, what? No one can come in your brain and take away your thoughts or change your thoughts or tell you how to think. We feel so limited by society's thinking or our family's thinking when in fact we can think whatever we want and no one can do anything about it. It's crazy. So I think it just led to huge courageousness on my part and also in coaching, because I'm just able to offer my clients whatever they say, the boldest, most expansive thoughts, because no one can stop them. They might take it or not, but just because there's no thought police who are going to come and stop you if you want to think that way. Amazing.
You feel like a woman to me who is fully in her matriarch era, rooted, wise, joyful. How do you define this space for yourself?
It was so amazing, actually. When I got your email, I don't think about myself as a matriarch because my mother was the matriarch, then my grandmother, but unfortunately they've both passed. And so my birth family, there's 3 siblings in my generation. We have 12 grandchildren. We're all very close, and they refer to me, as the matriarch now. Like that's sort of my role now. And so it's kind of funny. But the way I think about it, I think the word I would use is the glue. So I'm close to all of the my siblings and their spouses. I'm close to all my nephews. I'm the only one who had girls. They're all nephews who are sort of young adults now and one day teen and my children. And I feel like what I offer is the glue, like this openness, like open heart, open home, open conversation, and just always seeing them at their best, just always offering them a vision of them at their absolute best, and just always being there. I had a beautiful experience with my nephew, actually. Second oldest nephew was getting married. It's actually, whoa. And I couldn't make his wedding. I could have made his wedding, but I had signed up to go to the Caymans to teach master coach training a year before. And I made the decision that I would go. It was a tough decision, but I went for like the Sabbath before. There's a whole thing. So my husband and I went to New York, and it was really beautiful. And I remember he said, I don't know why he was saying something about honoring us. Oh, maybe we were going to say something. I can't remember. And he said, the thing I want to say about Bev is, I remember the time you didn't answer my call. And what he was saying is, I know you always there. It was like so emotional for me. So I guess that's probably what I think I bring. And maybe that's what it means in my family or in my role. It doesn't feel like a responsibility or heavy or, oh my gosh, I have to remember the anniversaries or any of that. Like none of that. It's just like, come on in, always. I'll always see you at your best.
Wow. And does that ever overwhelm you, or like, okay, I can't, this feeling of scarcity around your time or bandwidth, or how do you balance that?
It doesn't. Maybe because there's not a lot of demands, or more because I think I really operate from clarity. So I'm quite clear. So if I can't, then I don't. Like, I'll love you and I'll go, I'm so sorry, like, not this week. Can we talk next week? Or they will be such a priority that maybe I'll cancel something else. yeah, I don't ever feel like it sort of impinges on my. I don't really have scarcity around time. I have so much time.
Okay, and I going a layer deeper on that though, do you think that's connected to a belief that you have in your just innate goodness? I just that's what occurred to me because what you're saying, the clarity is part of the source of that clarity. Like, no, well, of course I don't need to question. If I'm saying no, I can trust that my reasons are good. I can have like feel confident in that decision that doesn't make me a bad aunt or a bad mom or
Mm.
grandmother. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yes, yes. So I think the source of that is there's this idea of the self-witness, which I learned from Sarah Payton. I don't know if it's hers, but I learned it from her. And this idea that our self-witness has a quality. It's kind of like our thoughts about ourselves that just go round and round that are witnessing and interpreting us. And at the one end, there's the critical self-witness, which might say things like, bad aunt, um, don't manage your time well. And then on the other spectrum is resonant self-witness, where you're just always talking to yourself in a way that just feels sort of warm and loving. And I am pretty much on the resonant self-witness scale. So it wouldn't come up for me to say, oh, you're a bad aunt because you wouldn't do it. It just wouldn't come up in my
Yeah,
brain. It's amazing. So when
that
people say
is
it,
amazing.
yeah, it's really amazing. And also what helps is this belief that they're whole and capable all on their own. Like when they come to me and I see their highest version, I actually think of them in their highest version.
I mean, it's remarkable because I think it is maybe the most common struggle for mothers is the guilt, which I think that part of the underlying unresolved or unanswered question is am I a good mom or am I a
Yeah.
good person, right? Which ties into this witnessing, the self-witnessing. And I think that often if we could come back to that question in just answer it and
Yeah.
let it settle of like, you are a good mom. You don't need to always come back to, does this mean I'm not a good mom? Does this like coming, I think that question can circle for a lot of women.
Right.
And so then any little thing that we, feel like we're disappointing someone or that we say no to, or then that question resurfaces of, well, does this
Mm.
make me a bad fill in the blank?
Yeah.
But the work that you've done seems to have so clearly resolved that in such a deep way. It's beautiful.
So maybe I can offer this idea because there are definitely things I've done with my children that I wish I would have done differently. For sure. There's a few big ones. And then if I had to sit around, I could tell you lots of them. But so I heard this idea. I'm not sure if it's a Jewish concept. I don't know where it comes from. Could be just a totally made up concept. But this idea that before our children are born or even conceived, their soul up in, heaven or wherever it is, they look down and they circle their parents. They go, them. For whatever is my mission on this earth, that's the family I need. So whenever I think about things I wish I'd done differently, or, even if our kids would be complaining, right, I'd remind myself, I'm the exact mom they need to fulfill their purpose. And so I was meant to do that, even though the outcome wasn't great. But whatever's their purpose, which is way more than I can see, I deeply understand that I'm supposed to be their mother with all my, gifts and skills and faults and challenges. So I don't know if that lands with anyone who's listening. I even used to say to them sometimes, I'll be like, thank you for choosing me to be your mommy. Or if they complained, I'd be like, you chose me, be your mama. Like that, like with a bit of lightness. But for me, it was a very calming story, idea.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, that definitely lands with me. And that's a beautiful, beautiful thought.
Yeah. So we take away from, am I a good mother, to, I'm the exact mother they need. Now I don't have to
Yeah,
be
and
evaluating.
and of course that doesn't mean that we don't apologize or make
Yes.
repair when needed. It's not like I
Yes.
can do whatever I want and that
No.
is,
Yes.
of course that's not what you're
Exactly.
saying, but
Not at
yeah.
all. No, exactly, exactly, exactly.
Well, So as motherhood shifts, as our children grow, the role tends to be less about. I think control is the wrong word, but we have less of the like daily directing and home management and all of that in the relationship, and it becomes more about connection. I wouldn't say more about connection though, because it's always connection. But maybe those other logistical pieces fall
Mm-hmm.
away and what you're left with is connection. How have you, or lack thereof, how have you experienced that
Mm.
transition in your mothering?
Oh, it's the best. I'm telling you, every like physical thing. I remember the first time they all buckled themselves into their car seats. Like, and now, I don't really need to do anything physically for them. I do, obviously, but only as much as I want to. Like, I'm going to see my daughter with her 2 grandchildren on Thursday. So, I'm going to take food, and I've been shopping for her. And I just came back from dropping a whole lot of cookies I cooked for my daughter in Israel that someone's taking for me. So I do, but only if I want to. My 21-year-old moved back home this year. She's gone back down to close to the university, but she started law school in our city. So originally we said to her, we'll pay for law school, but you have to live at home. And so for many, many weeks, she would complain there's no food. She'd go, where's the food? What's there to eat? And I would feel guilty. And then one day I looked at her and I said, Lisa, I'm 60 years old. I am done with active parenting. It's like the most liberating thing in the world. I don't parent actively anymore unless I want to. And taking care of your food needs, that's a no. It was so fun.
Good luck.
Right, exactly. If you want to put on the list, like there's strategies, right? So for me, I mean, it's just so fun. This is the thing for everybody who's stuck in the, so much of the day in the hands-on. They grow up and then it's all fun. I have 3 girls, shopping, holidays, chatting, going to movies. That's parenting now. It's the most amazing thing.
Can I even tell you how few mothers of adult children are saying that? What I hear all the time is how not fun it is to parent adult children.
Why?
Because you don't have the control. Because this is what I think. Because you did the work earlier of not managing all of their emotions, of not trying to control everything, and your focus was on connection. And so, yeah, I could see if you're always grasping for control and more management and more control, then as they get older, that is going to be more and more painful because you completely have to face reality. You don't have control. You never had it. But you fully embraced that.
Yeah, and so the kids' response to the trying to control it now is probably bigger because they have the choice. Okay, I understand. So then maybe for those mothers, just the offering of, just feel into your body. What if you actually never had to try to control them? What if you just got to enjoy them? Because you can't anyway, right? So if you could, we would tell you how. But you can't anyway, so what if you just drop the trying? What's left? There's this adult human being who came from you, who's the biggest miracle in the world. And you just have to love them. You just have to love them and give them, I mean, especially as adults, all we can do is offer them the most expansive, successful thoughts about themselves. What else?
I'm so obsessed with this and with you because this is the energy that I just want to infuse every mother with. When mothers are like, this is boring. I'm unfulfilled. I don't have an identity. I'm like, you are missing the point. There is nothing more creative, nothing more fulfilling. And I am not saying I've done all these successful things out here. And those are so fun and expansive too. Yeah. But these babies, that is what life is all about, is the connection.
That's it.
And it's infinite possibilities for that. And we just get to say, how can we have fun with them every day? That is the best way that I have found to approach mothering, where I show up as my best self. They enjoy me the most. They learn what they need to just by the example, and the connection, the growth is just unstoppable when that connection is in place. And it is just so exciting to see you living that out in such a tangible way.
Brilliant. And people listening might say, oh, easy for you, Elle. You have, whatever. Easy kids, obedient, etc., etc. But what we want to offer is, we don't know what came first, right? We don't want to sit here and go, yeah, it's because of how I parented at all. But what I think we do want to offer is, it's possible that if you chose this, your child might move in a direction that you're trying to kind of like yank and pull them towards. It's possible.
Yes.
And it's
And I am not
so much
saying
more fun for you.
Right. And I am not saying that I do not have those moments. Why I'm so passionate about it is because I have lived this other way, and I can still fall back into those patterns. And those are the times when I am not enjoying this experience. And the unnecessary suffering goes through the roof. It's just like, let's
Totally true. And I think also maybe we could offer this to people who are listening, is be very careful who you talk to and who you listen to and who you read about mothering. Right?
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah. I think that's all we really need to say about that. If it doesn't feel good and it's adding to your sense of unease and overwhelm, do not expose yourself to those people, teachers, any of that.
100%. Yes, we need to go through the podcasts. You need to go through. We need to be the filters. Yeah, nobody else is going to be. Do you conceptualize tending to your own joy as something that you tend to, that your joy, or is it just that is kind of the thing that comes out of the way that you live in these, the work, this inner work that you've done, and that's kind of the gift of it? Or is it something that you really think about, like, oh, okay, I'm noticing that I'm not as joyful, or I'm not enjoying my life? How do you approach that?
So I don't have regular practices because I'm like you. I have undiagnosed ADHD. And so, I have to try to have as few sort of routines as necessary. So I do have a coach always. And sometimes when I take a break, if I notice, I'm starting to feel sort of a little bit like less vibrant, well, then I need to have one. So I like to have somebody else. I kind of think like my brain, if my brain's not naturally creating it, there's brilliant brains out there. I'm just going to go and dump it on a brilliant brain and let them help me refine it. But I think that if joy comes from the way we talk to ourselves, and we just naturally, or by practice, are always sort of noticing all the gifts that come to us and all the unexpected and the, oh my gosh, that just happened. And I opened my email and there was an email from Elle, who I love, who said, come talk to me. And we notice that, then it's just sort of a self-perpetuating feeling that you keep growing, and that makes you less likely to notice like the other things that would maybe take it away.
Yeah. It's like, it sounds like what you're saying is you're infusing your life. If you're feeling a little less vibrant or a little less light filled, you're like, bring on all the light, and that's going to revamp the stores.
Yeah. Whatever it takes. Mostly it's, like I look in the mirror in the morning, I'm like, hey, gorgeous. And I know I'm not gorgeous. And it's like,
that is not true.
Like,
you are.
No thought police. Well, anyway, like there's no thought police. I can just say that. And what a gorgeous day. Or it just it's just the way my mind will work about it. And even if something goes wrong, I'll be like, oh, honey, like I'll forget something or lose something. So I think there's not a lot of joy dampening. And probably the main way to bring it back for me is human connection.
That's gotta be
someone
most
I love
people.
or professional. Yeah, for most people, it's how we designed.
Yeah. Okay. If you could you do coach many women in their 40s and 50s, women who maybe feel like that spark or light has dimmed a little bit. What would you want to offer them?
Okay. So the first thing, similar to what we said before, stop reading about menopause and perimenopause. If you're struggling, go to an expert who can help you and let them do your tests and tell you what to do, blah, blah, blah. But people come to me all the time. I said to my coach the other day, she's 50 and I'm 60. She's like, I heard, she's something weird about, I heard your diaphragm or your esophagus gets lazy. And I'm like, what are you talking about? I've never heard so much nonsense. She's like, no, I read it. My mom told me. So I said, just ask me everything because I'm 10 years older than you and I feel amazing. So I think that we must be very careful about what we allow into our brain, because if I read something, especially if it's from a respected person, it lodges itself in me, especially if I'm already worried or I have sort of a typically pessimistic view on life. Someone tells me about the terrible things. So that's my advice. Not don't take care of it, but that's all. Just let the experts
don't ruminate on those things.
Don't ruminate, and don't let thoughts come in that don't feel good to you. Because 40 and 50, I mean, each decade gets better. You're freer. Most women, I remember I woke up on my 50th birthday and I just got this message. I get these messages. I'm never going to worry what anyone thinks about me again. It was just this knowing. And I've told it to a few women, and a lot of them had a very similar kind of shift or experience when around 50 or when they turn 50. So there's freedom coming for you unless you focus on what you lose. Like I notice when I fly, it takes me much longer to recover, like if I cross time zones. So I just take off a few days after each trip, which I never used to do. But I don't think about it. That's the last thing I think about. What I think about is all the freedom from worry and the ability. So I think there's beautiful things that happen, right? Like more independent thinking, you have all this wisdom stored, and then there's some physical changes. And be very conscious of which one you're focusing on. We take care of both, but which one are you thinking about? Which one are you talking to your friends about? I have friends who say things like, they'll go, I've got an ache from the gym. There's always aches and pains. I'm like, what? At our age, we always have aches and pains. What? But then if you talk to enough people like that, right, and you feel a twinge, then you're all day about the twinge.
Yep. That reminds me of this study. I don't know if you've heard of it, from this Harvard professor, Ellen Langer. She did a study years ago where they put a few, I don't know how many men in an apartment that's completely controlled, and as if it was 1959 when they were young, like teenagers or something, or maybe young adults. And then they had, equal number of men in another environment. They're doing the same things every day, but the 1959 room experience or apartment was like all the music, all of these signals to their brain that you are young, you are energetic, all of the things from that phase in their life. And they cognitively, in all of these different ways, actually became younger for all intents and purposes. And the men who were not aged rapidly. And I can't remember what they did with the other men, if it was actually they were being told they were older or something, but the contrast was remarkable. And it speaks exactly to what you're saying of why would we, and I have so fallen into that with perimenopause. This is such a good wake up call for me of why a friend was like, is just everything perimenopause now? Is that what we're going to do for the next 10 years? Anything that goes wrong is perimenopause? And I'm like, yeah, I guess that's something to think about. But the other thing that you said was, it is the hallmark, crowning, most consistent quality of a matriarch. And I can't believe how consistently I'm hearing it right now from matriarchs, that you stop caring what other people think. It is the number one consistency with all the matriarchs that I've interviewed, all that I've studied. Grandma Moses, who was a painter, lived to became famous in her 80s and 90s. And she said, I never felt older than when I was 16. She's like, I don't care what people think now. That kind of heaviness is actually so much harder. And so it's just heavy, but you get a lightness from that. And you're saying you think that does come kind of naturally as it is kind of a gift of aging that you didn't have to necessarily work for?
No. Now, of course, we have to be careful. Let's say, I don't know, that it is something that naturally It's a beautiful gift that's given to us. We must be careful to sort of take the gift and not squash it and go, oh, that means you're selfish or you're self-centered or then you're not going to
Judgment.
have relationships, blah, blah, blah. Right? We could squash it. But if we just see it as this freedom and understand, no, I'm going to have better relationships because I'm designed for connection. So that's never a problem. But now they're going to be more honest and more true and more real.
That's where it's at, Bev. I can feel steps closer, but it had, at this age, it has felt like more work to do that. It's been very intentional, and I am excited for that to be more free flowing. The older I get.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
And it could just become free flowing today.
Yeah. And that's just, and tell me that is just, I think I know what you're going to say. Tell me what that looks like.
Well, what's making it feel like, small steps, slow progress, do you think? You love the idea?
A habit, thoughts that will just come back in of like, oh, but wait, what is that person going to say? Oh, that person probably isn't talking to me because they didn't like this last podcast episode and I offended them. Or those are the things that creep in. And then I have to say, you know what? My mantra this year has been to speak the truth and let the chips fall where they may, but it has been a practice.
Okay. So honestly, what could make it just, firstly, I just love the idea that those thoughts could literally stop coming the second. I mean, we don't know if they will, but it's a possibility, right? We don't know what's going to happen straight after this podcast. So that, I think just the possibility, like just being like, oh, it might not have to be this long slog, might not have to like unravel every single thought. That's one possibility. And then the other possibility is to decide, how will I feel about all those people who worry me, the specific ones and the bigger ones.
Yeah, which is, I just want to love them anyway. That's okay. Can think differently. Mm-hmm.
Right? And then you come in, oh, I think they're worried. You're like, oh, I love them so much.
Yeah.
And it's gone.
So good.
Yeah.
So good. I can just feel the lightness of that.
Amazing.
Okay. What limiting belief do you see most often in women in these middle years, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s?
Mm-hmm.
You see something
Too
most
late
commonly?
It's too late. Past my prime. Devastates me. I love your example of Grandma Moses, 80 years old, achieved her greatest success. Yeah, it's so devastating because it's only too late if we think it's too late. We're only past our prime. Who cares if your memory's not as good? No one needs a memory. You've got so many resources. I mean, it doesn't even matter what people have. It's an absolute fact. There's so many examples of people who achieved their greatest success later in life. And none of them believed they'd passed their prime. Otherwise, that would have stopped them. So I just love to think it's too late for me the day I die. Until then, all possibilities are open.
What a way to live. That's like Carl Jung's quote, that part of the inspiration for this podcast, which is that life really begins at 40. Up until then, you're just doing research.
Brilliant. I totally love it.
Right? It's like James, go ahead.
When I discovered coaching. Oh, that is fantastic. It just flips the entire thing, right? Mm-hmm. Too late for me? What? Your life is just beginning.
Because, and James Hollis goes into this work even more deeply, where he says, yeah, up until midlife, you're just reacting. Most people are just reacting to life. Mm-hmm. And then this opportunity in middle life is, oh, okay, now let me proactively engage with life rather than just reacting to the things that happen to me, which I don't think you need to be 40 to do that. I think that can be a learned thing, earlier on for sure. But it is an amazing point at this point in life where you can just say, okay, yeah, now it's not ending. Let's not go to sleep. Now let's really wake up. Yeah.
Amazing. I love it. And if people need help to do that, then they should get it. It's not always so simple as just tell yourself to, think differently.
Yes, which is Bev, for everyone listening, Bev coached me last year during a very difficult time. It was was that last year? Yes, the beginning of last year. And it was just absolutely transformative. You are very, very gifted coach. Okay. When you think about legacy, the legacy that you're leaving as a coach, mother, woman, what do you hope that people feel from just your presence, your work? Do you think about legacy very much?
I I I I don't think about it, but I got your question and I gave it some thought, and I guess really if there's anything that I would hope to leave, it's that everybody in the world understands that whatever they're doing, it makes total sense that they're doing it, and that their potential is unlimited for recovery, for change, for achievement. Whatever they desire, they were born with the ability to do it. And whatever they're not doing, it makes sense based on experiences up till now, which has led to the way they're thinking until now. That's it. Nothing to do with them inherently.
You hold such a beautiful balance of this unlimited possibility and this just the most open, free thinking way, while also just having such compassion for people, just this deep, deep compassion and understanding. It is easy. I know that we both know coaches and other people this way, where it is easy when you get into any type of, it's not even self-help, but your own way of living and what your own truth, to then the response to that to other people is judgment. And you just hold both of those so in such a perfect balance with each other. Is that a conscious decision?
So it's interesting. It doesn't actually feel compassionate. Like, to me, compassionate would mean like, oh, I feel for you.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if that's what compassion means. For me, it just feels like fact. We are all unlimited potential. So anything you're doing that's past that, it's just because of what you've experienced in life and the rules and conclusions you drew from it. It's not like, oh, I have to feel so compassionate and loving towards you. It's like, I know this about you. It's more comes from like strength. It more feels strong. Really.
I love that. I love that.
Yes.
Yes.
The best place to coach from. Best place to coach from. Best place to parent from.
Well, because there's nothing condescending in it. There's no judgment. And it's almost like some part of like not arguing with reality in some way, of just like, yes, of course. This is where you landed, or this is where I am right now. It makes total sense.
It makes
And
sense. You're
now,
yelling at your kids every day. I promise you, if we did some processing, we would find a reason that makes total sense, that your best option it seems available to you is to yell. You don't want to yell. I would like to help you not yell, but the reason you're yelling is nothing bad about you. It makes total sense. We don't know exactly what it was that had you become that person, but we know that it is not your natural you.
so powerful, and so really a deep respect for the person that you're coaching is, I think, what that creates. Okay. I could stay here with you all day. I have 2 more questions for you. What are you most excited about in this next chapter of your life?
Granddaughters, 2 of them. So, yeah, what I'm excited about actually is figuring out, I was with my kids full time. I had sort of little things on the side for a long time. And then I got really, really involved in my business, and that took up most of my time. And now I'm very excited about kind of finding this. When I was working all the time, I had, bookings all the time. And so I felt quite sort of tethered to my calendar. I mean, I always was there for my children for the things, but now I'm very excited about this idea of figuring out how to still be coaching and teaching and having this like fluidity to be able to be with them when I want to be, or, bake some cookies when I want to. So that feels very exciting to me to have now sort of both of them come together with me and maybe be more involved in offerings than sort of calendared experiences. That's what I think. But yeah, mostly, I mean, grandchildren.
The best. The best. Oh, I love hearing stories of you with your grandkids and seeing pictures. It's just so exciting. Tell me, for moms who are listening to this, and I think you just said something in there that I want to expand on, or would like you to expand on. In those early years, I remember becoming a mother unlocked this whole creativity, so much confidence, so many things I just had no idea I had potential for before. It was the biggest unlock of my life. But I think for years it also was, yes, but there was a part of me that's afraid of that ambition and the drive. And I know a lot of mothers struggle with this of like, they feel like they have to temper themselves or else they won't be the mom that they want to be as well. How do you, I just know that you're going to approach this in such a different way of not, of kind of, again, that innate goodness and trusting that intuition. How would you suggest approaching that?
Okay. Yeah, I can see it. I see what you're saying. So I think that if we come from that belief that we're the exact mother that they're supposed to be for them to, fulfill their purpose, and we have some drive or we have some creativity, that means part of that is part of what they need. I also, I remember reading when my kids were small that parenting became a verb only for like my daughter's generation. She's 30. So where I grew up, it was very much benign sort of neglect. I mean, parents always there. My mom was always there. My dad was always there, but they weren't really that involved with me. So my mother didn't, but she really could have been running $1 million business and, stopping to come pick me up from school. And I think I would have had the same childhood. So if we believe, I think this is a good tie-up question actually, that, they're designed to develop. They're like a computer program. They're supposed to do this at this age. And all we really do is create the space for them to unfold and make sure we're looking at them. I read this statistic that for them to become security attached, they just need to see us looking at them like 30% of the time. So the other 60% of the time we could be doing our creativity or whatever it is, and they're still going to be secure. It all, there's no end to your capacity to nurture all of it. We're women. We were born with that endless nurturing and ourselves. And there's always space to redirect. If we're finding that, our passions, a child is displaying signs of neglect, so then we flow with it. We maybe find somebody else who will love them as much, or we tone down and we turn towards. I think that if we can just understand there's no limit to ourselves, then we can experiment and find out where's the right balance today, next week, next year.
Oh, I could not agree more. I could not agree more.
It.
Yeah,
You're
because that is, that's the only way I've done anything since becoming a mother, is just trusting that, not doing the math always on how is this all going to fit together ahead of time. It's just going to be messy, maybe, and we're just going to do it. And then, okay. And then after that season where it's busier and heavier in this area, okay, now I'm going to shift a little more to this priority and letting it be fluid and intuitive in that way. And that again comes back to that deep, kind of abiding trust in ourselves and confidence of like, no, You're a good mom. You love these babies. Of course you want to do the best thing for them. And that's going to come through also doing the best thing for you. Those are not mutually exclusive. They're all a part of the same thing. So
yeah. And I love your story, Elle, because there's no way that you could have predicted or mathed or figured this out, right? The math only, like we said, our little brain, the math only can take into account the numbers we know and the things we know. And you could have never predicted this.
Yes. Yeah. I think it also comes back to not being afraid to being used up. I've had Lisa Marciano on the show a few times, and she talks about that. Like, isn't that kind of the point of life, is to like, yeah, let's use it all up. And not in a like, like martyr, sacrificial, kind of way, but also like, no, let's do this. Let's just be 100% engaged in the things that we love and care about, and trust that it's going to be messy, but it's going to be okay.
And there's more coming.
Bev.
And if not,
There's
you'll
more
figure out
coming.
how to get it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any last words that you would have for a mother who might be listening, who might be in a hard place?
Okay, so I think, yes, the first would be, if it's feeling really hard, please, please, please reach out to somebody. Don't try to do it yourself. Reach out to somebody who feels hopeful to you. If it's feeling like it's hard and I can manage it, then I want to offer you, could you just offer yourself that if the hardness is a 5, you could tone down the hardness to 3 and replace fun with 2. Just have a fun experimenting with, like, how much of the hard can I actually control with my mind, and how much of the fun and the joy could I replace with it if I truly knew my children were going to become who they're supposed to become, no matter what I do.
Oh,
how's that?
Bev, can you just go with me everywhere? Can I stick you in my pocket? Oh my gosh, Bev.
I would love to.
This was magic. Thank you so much for being here. I cannot thank you enough for just spending this time with us. I know that everyone listening, there's no way there were not many parts of this interview that didn't resonate. It's just such a gift to spend this time with you. Where can listeners find you?
So they can find me if they search me out, Bev Aron. I have a Deep Dive Coach Institute, and I have a Deep Dive Club, which is monthly coaching, learning, this kind of stuff all the time. It's very casual, it's very informal, and very fun way to stay in touch with me on an ongoing basis.
Wonderful. Thank you so much for being here.